Well, it's going to be a chilly night across the region. This is live look at Rehoboth Beach. More surfing and sighting sky cam. But unlike last night where we were in the 20s, we're only going to be dropping into the 30s for the overnight tonight. So that's the start of a warming trend that we're expecting going into next week. So we got the warming temperatures, and it certainly was nice to have the later sunsets, but it's not just the later sunsets. It's also the amount of daylight gain that we get in March. In fact, March features the most amount of daylight gain out of all months of the year. That's roughly about 2.5 minutes of daylight gained during every day of March. Now roughly equates to about 70 minutes of daylight gain over the entire month of March. So of course it's up and away from here in terms of gaining daylight, but the amount of daylight we gain decreases gradually going to the first day of summer. Still though, daylight to be gained over the next couple of months. 12 hours and 39 minutes of daylight by April 1st, and by the summer solstice, we have a spectacular 14 hours and 50 minutes of daylight with an 8:29 p.m. sunset. Certainly a nice thing to look forward to. Now, like I said, tonight we'll get a little bit chilly. Right now we got lower 40s and upper 30s across the board. And we got Ted and Middlesboro reporting a temperature of 44 degrees. Again, it will be chilly, but not as cold as what we saw last night, where we were well into the 20s. But we got a clear sky out there for tonight, so no weather woes in terms of any clouds or precipitation. That stays to our south. But what we are watching is this system cutting across the Great Lakes that will be dragging a warm front to our north. And with this, it is going to bring in some milder temperatures by the time we get to tomorrow. And with that said, we are expecting temperatures to get into the 60s for the interior. Sunshine mixed with a few high clouds, especially the further south you go, but still, it's going to be a very nice day out there. Tuesday is going to be even better. We're talking about full-on sunshine and temperatures climbing into the mid, maybe even upper 60s for a few locations for the interior. Of course, it's going to be a bit cooler by the coastline. After all, water temperatures are in the 40s, but still going to be a nice day out there. So we're going to be warm sectored for Monday into Tuesday. That's why we have the warmer temperatures. But our warming trend is a little bit interrupted by the time we get to Wednesday with the high pressure moving across the northeast. It's going to bring in some onshore flow. So we will probably be stuck in the 50s for high temperatures on Wednesday. And the coastal locations may be even stuck into the 40s during that day. But we will get the warming trend to progress and continue going into Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday as well. We get warm sectored once again with the low pressure tracking well to our north and west. And with that, we're going to get some southerly winds. So we will get back into the 60s and perhaps even touching 70 degrees by the time we get to the weekend. There's that cooling trend for your day on Wednesday, but then climbing back through the 60s. And by the time we get to the weekend, we're talking about the potential for lower 70s for those daytime high temperatures. Though I will note, because we have a low pressure system moving towards our neck of the woods by the time we get to the weekend, we do have a good chance for rain specifically by Sunday. That could be pretty heavy, but I think Saturday, while it will be a mostly cloudy day, I do think we will generally keep it on the dry side for then. Now tonight is going to be dry and a bit chilly out there, 32 to 37 degrees for low temperatures tomorrow. A beautiful day, 60 to 65 degrees with a good amount of sunshine. And the marine forecast is looking good as well because the winds will be on the lighter side, which is always good news this time of the year. So 58 on Wednesday, climbing through the 60s Thursday into Friday, and around 70 degrees for the weekend. But again, we do have that chance for rain by the time we get to Sunday. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.